Okay, hello everybody. So today we are going to be doing a long-awaited video for me. These are going to be my palettes. So I'm going to combine like eye and face palettes just to kind of, I don't know, make it easier. But this is where all my palettes are stored. Yeah, so this is where I store it. It's not the best storage, but I like that it keeps it kind of separate from my rest of my collection and allows me to like pull it out when I'm feeling like it. So let's go through the stuff I have. So first palette is the Pat McGrath palette and Mothership palette. I believe Mothership 6. I believe this is like the midnight one. So it looks like so. This is, I definitely think, the best Mothership palette. I think it just has the best like eyelid shades and some really good neutrals and really fun like fun colors added into it. I've been really interested in getting another Mothership palette. However, there really aren't any that I think are as good color scheme wise to this one. I just think the other palettes either have like repetition of these shades or are like really niche, I guess is maybe the word, or just like shades I wouldn't use as often as these. I don't know if I need to buy like a dusty pink palette that doesn't really have anything like of note. I feel like this palette is amazing because it just has like such a good variety. This I feel like is the like beloved shade. I don't know if this is gonna focus, but it's so beautiful and just like that sort of wet look. And then this gold I really love. Another just great neutral. And then this one too is just like a non like shimmery version of this. So I think this palette is the best Mothership palette. I've wanted to buy more because I did enjoy this experience and I really love these neutrals, but there's really been no other palette that looks as good as this one does to me. So yeah. The other interesting thing is I did get this 50% off because there was a Pat McGrath sale and I think a code got leaked, so I wasn't, you know, too pressed about paying that money for it. I guess perhaps we should do my brand. I don't know. Okay, I have a couple other Pat McGraths. So this quad I got because I really loved this. Felt pretty unique to me. So these shades are beautiful. This like they just felt very different, and I was really into these sort of like red pink duochromes, and I felt like this was a really good way to do it. And then this purple was really beautiful. I think I actually saw like Kathleen Lights do it, so there's like a 30% off sale. I ended up purchasing this and I do really like this palette. I think it's very unique. This is the quad for Luxe Eyeshadow Quad in Passion Fleur. So I really like this one too. I don't know, Pat McGrath is really interesting. I just feel like she hasn't come out with great stuff as of late. On that same sale, I bought this face palette. I had wanted this face palette forever. These are like absolutely my kind of shades, like these like beautiful duochromes, if you are able to see those. So this like pink blue duochrome and then this gold blue, it is so stunning. And I just feel like these are so unique. So I was so happy to pick this up. I'd wanted it for forever and I had really waited because I was like, do I need it? And I did need it. So those are my Pat McGrath shades. I'm trying to think if there's like how I want to organize this, but I think we'll just do a little. Okay, perfect. But yeah, those are all the Pat McGrath products I own for eye palettes. I think they're really beautiful, and I honestly don't think there's any others I need to buy. So we will move those off. Okay. Let's do my single eyeshadows. I have a interesting variety. So this is like my fun colored palette. This is kind of the palette I take when I'm like traveling somewhere and want to just pick out the colors I like. So that's what's left over. And then this is the rest. So these palettes contain colors from all different brands: ColourPop, Makeup Geek, Anastasia, MAC, Lethal Cosmetics, Sydney Grace, and I don't know, I just feel like this is something everyone kind of got into for a while, these single eyeshadows. And I don't really think they're as popular now, which is interesting because I still think this is probably the best way to build your collection, especially when like they're so common now. Do I need all of these colors? No. Do I use all of these colors? No, absolutely not. But the fact that they're in a single shade and I can just put this in a palette and kind of like leave it means I'm like much more willing to kind of hold on to them. I do like this palette for kind of just like picking out the ones I like. In this palette I have Shroom from MAC, which I really love. That's a favorite. I believe this is Soft Brown from MAC, maybe. And I can kind of do, this is like a satin taupe dupe that I really like. So I like this palette a lot for just having this every day that you can pick out and bring with you, because I mean, I don't want to bring palettes most of the time on trips. They break, they just take up a lot of space. This I think is the real fun of single eyeshadows. It's just like being able to buy super bold fun shades and just have them in a palette. I think this is also the best way to kind of engage with really trendy colors or palettes and kind of build your own from your collection. So this shade, this is from Lethal. This is from Lethal Cosmetics. I don't know. This is in the shade Relapse, and this shade I bought because of the Natasha Denona palette. I forget what it was called, but I really wanted this shade, and sorry, that's out of focus. I really wanted this shade, and I was like prepared to buy the whole palette, and then I was able to find a dupe through, I believe it was Temptalia, and I bought a bunch of Lethal Cosmetics stuff, but this shade was definitely the standout, along with the screen. So fun. But I just think these allow you to kind of get really bold, amazing colors that are usually very unique in palettes. Like might be the standout shade in the palette, and you can just buy the one you're interested in, because in reality, like most of the neutrals, we all already have all these neutral colors, like in some capacity. So I think this is just like a fun way to do makeup. So that's my fun palette. I really like that. That's the regular palette, and then this is just kind of like neutrals, leftovers, variety. I think in general I need less neutrals, so I try not to buy them anymore because I just have such a range, and I don't know, I don't use half of them. But it is interesting looking at this. There are some colors I see in here that I am kind of into at the moment, like this deep red sort of shades. So maybe I'll whip this out a bit more and like pick out this everyday palette. But those are all my single eyeshadows. Now let's do some other assortment of palettes. This is the BH Cosmetics Desert Oasis palette. This is, I don't even think this brand is in business anymore, but this is a beautiful palette. Actually like such a standout. I think the color range leans a little warm, so it's less of a preference for me. I prefer like neutral or cool, but the colors are so gorgeous. Let me swatch. This gold is so amazing. Like terrain, quartz, these are just stunning, and they're amazing like lid shades, if that's visible. But this was recommended, I think, literally by Tati before her huge cancellation. I hope at least it was before her huge cancellation. I hope I wasn't buying and giving her money otherwise, because like I don't even watch Tati anymore. But this is a great palette. I don't think it's sold anymore, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but I just do think this is such a unique palette where so many amazing like shimmer shades, which is really why I buy palettes at this point, to get those unique shimmer shades and have such a range of it. And then a couple mattes. I don't use the mattes, frankly, but this is not like a matte forward palette, which is pretty impressive. But this is a great palette. It's a bummer if this is out of business, because I do think this is such a standout palette, and I whipped this out on my birthday this year. Like, I was really enjoying it. But yes, the Desert Oasis palette is great. I guess let's do this palette. This is Cosmos by Anastasia. I was gifted this by a friend, and I think this is another really fun palette, because this is full of like duochrome shades. So to try and like swatch it, we have Sun, which is this like gold pink shade. This is like an amazing shade. Supernova is a like blue pink. Look at that, that's amazing. Quasar is a like blue green. So my friend gifted this to me, and I had honestly not even like considered this palette before she gifted it, but I'm so happy I got it. I think it's stunning. And I think an interesting thing is I think these neutrals are kind of unique and like stand out. I don't know, I just feel like you don't see like these three often in palettes, or this dark purple, and especially combined with these shades, I think they go really well. The only shade in this palette I'm like meh about is this Galaxy shade, because it's kind of a, let's see if I can get that focused in. It's kind of like a like scattered glitter, if that makes sense. Like, it's not like a shimmer shade, it's like a matte with glitter in it. I don't know if that's making sense, but that shade is kind of like meh to me. But I just think this palette is so stunning, and I hadn't even heard of it or like considered it until my friend had got it for me for my birthday, and I think it's like one of the standouts in my collection. It has beautiful topper shades. I do have a couple Anastasia palettes that I don't have with me here. So I enjoy Anastasia palettes, and I feel like I haven't heard good things about them since like Modern Renaissance, but I've enjoyed the ones I've had, which I believe I have Modern Renaissance back home, and another one, I don't even remember what it's called. It's definitely not sold anymore, but this was a shockingly enjoyable palette I got. I was like so surprised, because I really don't buy them as much anymore, and I got that and I was like, wow. Let's do, this is another old palette. This is the Viseart dark matte palette. This is so pretty. I bought this ages ago. I think they had a 50% off sale. Like, and when I say ages, I mean like 10 years ago. I was just like so obsessed with this, and I bought this without even being like, will I use it? I think Viseart has great formulas, and I think these shades are really unique. In the grand scheme of things, I don't really use this palette often, but I do think like it's not as hard to wear as I thought it was. Like, I feel like a lot of these could be used as like a fun eyeliner shade, which I've been really into. So I like this a lot. Packaging super cheap, broke, but oh yes, I enjoy Viseart actually a fair amount. Then we have this NARS palette I got as a gift. This is the NARS Hyped palette. And when I first got this, I was like, oh, I totally have this in other palettes, but I've kind of grown to really enjoy it. Like, I think there are some unique shimmer shades in it, and the mattes are really beautiful. I think like this shade, like this beautiful like satiny color, is so unique. I don't even think you can like see it, but it's just like a unique, beautiful like satin color. And the orange is beautiful. This color's fun. Like, I've grown to really enjoy it a lot more. And I also think the formula is pretty good. I was interested in potentially getting another NARS palette, but I just haven't found that any of the other combos are really that appealing to me. But I enjoyed this one. I got it as a gift. It ended up being really beautiful. And I hadn't heard much about NARS. Okay, let's kind of go through these last couple eyeshadows a little quicker. This is the Tartelette Tease palette. I love this palette. This is so old, but this color combo is amazing. These mattes are great. These shimmers are good. I don't know, this is such an oldie. No one really talks about Tarte anymore, but like these shades are so good. And I just feel like unique again. Ugh, it's so hard to get this to focus. Okay, these are just amazing. I keep this because these are fantastic and I love this palette. Sad that Tarte is not, I don't know, I just feel like they don't make, maybe the formula is still the same, but no one talks about it and I don't really care for Tarte anyways. This is the NYX Ultimate Shadow Palette. This is actually such a standout in my collection. If you are interested in color, like bright colors, but more so sheer washes of bright colors, that's what I think this palette is amazing at. I just think this is such a standout. Like, they have pigment, but they just end up being like a beautiful, like sheer wash shade on the eyes. So it just allows you to do like really fun looks without being like insane. I feel like if you're in college or if you're younger and love doing fun eyeshadow, this is just such a good palette for it and a great way to get it without being like insanely expensive. And I don't know, I feel like I don't have half these colors anyways, so it's just a great way to expand your collection. And I love this palette. This really was like such a big palette for me in college. I used it a lot, so I love that. Then we have this old matte quad. I won't go through, I'll be quick about this because I have most of these colors otherwise, but I got this literally 10 years ago. This is Wedge, Shroom, Woodwinked, and this was Satin and Taupe. I still use this a lot because I love those colors, but particularly Woodwinked, but yeah, is what it is. It's kind of disgusting. This is the e.l.f. Cookies and Dream palette. I love this palette too. It just has some shockingly really good shades, including this color. And this is like a kind of fun, I don't know if it's a duochrome, but it's just pretty. So this was actually like a surprising look and joy from e.l.f. I feel like sometimes these bigger palettes aren't very good, but I believe this is the bite-sized eyeshadow formula and I like that formula a lot. And I bought this mostly for like those neutrals, but then these ended up being so beautiful too. So I like this palette a lot. I don't know if it's sold anymore, but it's still like a fair part of my collection. And then I have this small Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette in Sunset, the mini one. This is great. I mostly wanted to try out the Natasha Denona formula and it was on sale. And I do think this formula is really good. So I would definitely buy another one of these. But I don't really think she has any that are really like calling my name. I don't know. Okay, let's finish this up a little quicker. I have this Cheap Parade palette that is still hanging around. In all honesty, I don't really think any of these are that good except for the bronzers. I mostly keep this for the bronzer at that point. I don't think Dandelion's good. I don't really think California's good. I feel like it's like patchy and powdery looking. So I don't know. I've given these a good try, but I feel like they're not really doing it for me. Maybe Rockatua, but I like these bronzers a lot, so I keep this mostly to use those up, especially if Hula ever comes back in, or like, you know, I just feel like I switch through bronzers and like rediscover ones a lot. Then we have this Alchemist holographic palette from Anastasia. This is really similar to the Pat McGrath one I showed earlier, but it's just another like sort of duochrome highlighter palette. Like, can you see those? Those are amazing. So I bought that because I love shit like that, just as like a topper to make it more interesting. And this was like 50% off when I bought it because I think they were rebranding, and I love it. My only issue is this color keeps breaking on me and it's so nasty. I'm like, I hate like broken palettes like that, because like whenever I open it, it's just like a hot mess. But I do really enjoy this palette. I think it's fun. I don't know if it's sold anymore, but it's a fun experience. And then last but not least, we have this Hourglass palette. This is the Ambient Light Edit Sculpture. So they come out with different ones all the time. This is from ages ago, and in all honesty, I do think this is the best ambient lighting palette I could have gotten. I wanted a good variety. I wanted to try the bronzers, the blushes, and the like powders. I didn't want the strobing ones, and this is a strobing one, and I just find it to be like very glittery and like not for me. And I just feel like most of the palettes that come out now don't have a good range. It's either like 2 strobing powders, maybe these 2 blush shades, which I already have. I just feel like there's nothing better than this combo for me. I gotta try everything. I got like 2 really iconic blush shades, which I believe are like what are these called? This is the Strobe Blush in Vibrant Blush and Mood Exposure. So again, like something different. I gotta try the shades. I think they're beautiful. So I don't know. I like that I gotta try it, but I definitely don't need another palette in this because I just feel like I got to try all the formulas I wanted at this amazing price. So this is a great way, I think, to try out Hourglass. If you can get a combo you really like. I don't really see a combo I like in the new stuff, so that's just my take. Okay, let's talk about these palettes. I think it's pretty interesting. I'm not a huge palette buyer. It's not been something that I've struggled with. I think I enjoy like a quad or mini palette much more. And most of these kind of stick around. So I think just in going through, I feel like I am someone who is pretty thoughtful about my palettes. Like I thought a lot about this. I got it on sale and I was interested in getting another palette, but I really just didn't find one that fit my preferences or needs, and I haven't bought one. So I feel like that is a good thing. Like in reviewing this, I feel like that's a good choice. I think these single eyeshadows still hold a lot of value for me, particularly in allowing me to like get colors from palettes that might have made me want to buy the whole palette, but just get it in a single eyeshadow form if it is the standout, the thing I want in the palette. I think the single eyeshadows just allow me to kind of, you know, get the key parts of the palette without repeating a bunch of shades from my collection. So I do think it helps me hold off from buying like a bunch more palettes. So I think there's a lot of value with that. And I want, after reviewing this, I want to go through and pick out my sort of like shades I want to wear more, because I think that would be fun to just have that on my everyday makeup vanity and just like allow me to kind of try out new things. So a lot of these palettes are also gifted or were bought like literally over 5 years ago, so it's hard for me to be super critical of those because again, like I didn't buy it for myself, or I've had this for so long that it is something that's like maybe come out of trend or not been as interesting or something like that. I have thought about like depotting this palette in some capacity, but I would also need to buy like another Z palette in order to do so. So that to me starts like losing the value of depotting if I'm just buying more. So I'm just enjoying this for what it is, and keeping it for those colors. I try the other ones out a few times whenever I want. And yeah, I think it's interesting because the most recent thing I've gotten in my collection was this as a gift, and this was probably like, I'm shocked I didn't buy this for myself because this is an amazing palette and exactly what I wanted, and someone else had bought it for me. So I think that's so funny to like kind of realize. But yeah, I mean, I'm like so happy I have this in my collection because it had like shades I really wanted, unique shades in my collection. So I don't know, I don't have a ton to say on this because again, I feel like it's kind of similar to like the highlights in the sense I've had a lot of these for a long time, and I enjoy a lot of them still and whip them out and use them. I think probably the most important thing for me is to put more of these colors in here so I use them more and use palettes more often, because I have a lot of eyeshadow, but to be frank, I don't do a ton of like eyeshadow looks, and it's kind of crazy when you consider the collection I have that I don't do eyeshadow looks. So perhaps I need to just like do that more. I find it fun, but I just don't wear them out a lot, so I feel like maybe that would be like a fun challenge to try. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for today. I think that was pretty long, but hopefully that was interesting to see. Again, like a fair variety of palettes and eyeshadows and things like that. And yeah, I think this will inspire me to do some fun things, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. I think what's coming up are lip products, which is insane because I've been looking forward to that, and this has taken a while to get through. So anyways, thank you all for watching. I'll see you later. Bye bye.